pretty upset watching, and I could understand why, because if you're there every single second, watching every single shot, for the people watching, it's more nerve-wracking and more of a concern than the kids who are playing. So as long as it doesn't interfere, as long as it doesn't impact negatively for the parents and the kids, I think it's a great thing for the parents to watch. But for my son and me, we just worked out a system where he does everything on his own. And I'm very, very happy about that, because now he knows more about golf and tournaments and how everything should be than I do. So I can rely on him to tell me when to go, what to do, and when to drop him off. So I think that's a plus for him to be independent and to be able to handle this game on his own.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. What part of the what part of his golf game he needs the most work on? Because I play golf. Golf is sometimes can be very unforgiving, and you playing against nature. You got 14 club in your bag. You got a drive. You got a fairway. You got a bushes. You got a water. You got to use sandwich, putter, chipping, and what his strengths and what's his weakness.
Right now, well, eventually, obviously, the mental aspect. But right now, his strength is his putting and his mental aspect. He's very calm. He doesn't I'm sure he gets somewhat upset shooting a bad score or hitting a bad shot, but he doesn't let that affect him. It doesn't get into his mind. During a tournament, his mentality and his behavior is very calm and very professional. That I love that about him, and I love that about golf. Is actually it helps you to become, because you have to sustain this competitiveness, sustain this mental focus for such a long time. It's not a game that you can go up and down. It's really a game that you have to keep very calm and very even keeled, so you can weather through the ups and downs. And then you will have ups and downs every round, but the mental stability is actually very, very key to golf. So his strength is his mental stability, and his more carefree personality. So he doesn't let anything bad bother him, and he doesn't let anything like super good or a chippy and birdie to make him super excited. He's very, very even tempered, especially on the golf course. And his putting is pretty solid. When he misses a putt or putt long or putt short, generally he's able to putt it in, no matter whether it's 3 feet or 5 feet. He's able to save 2 putts without having too many 3 putts. So those are his strengths. The weakness, there are not. It's a relative. It's a competitive sport, so it's very relative compared to people who are not as good as him. Obviously, he has a lot of strength, but compared to the top junior golfers, there are a lot of weaknesses. But in general, I would say consistency. Short game is definitely an area that he can improve, and he's working on that. It's not his weakness per se or the worst part, but definitely short game is something that he can definitely improve if he wants to be the top junior golfer. Another thing right now he's working on his consistency with irons for his accuracy and distance control. So that's something that will take a lot of time, patience, and effective practice. I think the weakness or the part that people do not put too much emphasis on is effectiveness of practice. You can go on the course, like we show up on the golf course every day. You can be there for 8 hours, but it doesn't mean your practice is effective. The 8 hours could be very ineffective. In fact, that's what has been his flaw, I would say, his mistake that far as his practice has been ineffective. So he has, in fact, created more bad habits than good ones. So now he has to fix those bad habits. That's going to take twice as long to get him to where he could have been. So that's what we are working on. Yes.
So you're talking about quality practice over quantity, right?
Correct. I would take quality any day. And quantity is only important or effective when the quality is good. And that's something that I believe in. However, I'm having difficulty convincing or making a 14-year-old teenager to realize that. That took me many, many years of time and maturity to realize that. And right now, that's what we are working on, is for him to realize quantity only works when you have quality. And I would like to improve his quality of practice. Because I believe once you all get to the tournament, it's done. You may have a great round, you may have a bad round, but where your level is when you practice. You improve your level, your skill, your game at the practice during the practice time. Once you get in the tournament, good or bad, it's already there. It's already done. That's why I don't agree with parents who get upset at kids for playing bad in tournaments. I don't think it's per se their fault. Every kid wants to do well in tournaments, but they're limited by their skill level. They're limited by how much they practice and how much they actually mental ability. So once he gets out in the tournament, I don't get upset for anything, good or bad. It's already predetermined. However, I do expect him to work hard during practice time and put his mind into it to know what he's trying to practice. And when he practices, try to do the correct technique, correct things that his coach taught him every time. Instead of doing the wrong thing, then he would have to come and correct it again. So that's where I put more focus on, is when he practices.
Right. This is Sekou Radio, Southwest Florida, Sarasota, Bradenton, the Bay Area. Today we're talking about golf. Raising a young golf player in America with Jenny Liu. Jenny, you mentioned it before that the goal is Stanford. What it takes to get into Stanford? How good a golfer you have to be?
You have to be the best
and
of the best.
You have to be academically very good too. So.
Yes, Stanford is one of the top schools, if not the top school, most difficult school to get into, academically and athletically. So as far as golf is concerned, you have to be, I may not be completely accurate, but I feel like you have to be the top 6 junior in the country. And in the U.S., the level of golf, junior golf and professional golf is so high. It's the highest in the world. So being the top 6 junior in the United States is pretty much the top 6 in the world. So my son, Jaden, has to work a lot harder to be able to do that. But I think it's a good goal. That's Stanford is close to where we live. We are home in California. And I have a lot of friends who have gone through Stanford. And we also had gymnasts that have attended Stanford on scholarship. So I am familiar with their program and their athletic program, and I personally love the school. So I think that would be his ultimate goal, ultimate school to go to. I'm hoping that would encourage him to work harder, because that would be the top school in the nation.
Right. CQ Radio, Southwest Florida. If you just start listening to us today, my guest is Jenny Liu, raising a young golf player in America. Jenny, we're getting close to the end. If you have to close in, if you have to conclude in few words, what would you say about golf and raising a young golfer in America?
I want to say that we are lucky to be in America, because this golf in America, the level is so advanced. And we're lucky to be we lived in California and Florida. The weather permits us to play golf all the time. And I'm very thankful that I found the sport of golf that anybody can play. And anyone can play until they're 90 or 100. It's just a great sport. And it's a very, very calming, soothing, and therapeutic experience to be able to be in the nature for 4 or 5 hours. So I encourage everyone to play golf, to take up a sport, and for the parents to just stay positive. I think that would be the hardest thing to go.
Thank you. Today was Jenny Liu, CQ Radio. That end the show there. Thank you for coming to the radio, CQ Radio, Jenny. Thank you for your contribution.
You're very welcome.
Great. Best of luck to your son, and we will follow him.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.